Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. Welcome, welcome. Rochelle White, as usual. You are the hero. Welcome. Omonike, Mesonge, Adeleke, Mufelola, Gift, Blessing, Muyiwa, Jane Munsanka. Welcome to every one of you. Thank you for being here. Now, Shioma, welcome. Please, as you are coming in, will you be kind enough to go and share the link? Anastasia, you are in Ukraine, but I've not been seeing you because I've been in the church and you are at home. Justine, Precious. Oh, Precious Oshideko is here. Hi, you made it. I will reply your letter, don't worry. Obafemi Ogunese. Welcome, everyone. Jide Balogun. Welcome. Brenda Williams. Welcome. Oriyomi. Yinka Michael. Denise. As you are coming in, please go and share the link. Good luck, Olotu, Joe Odabi. Look for the share button under your video. You will see a share button under your video. Under your video, you see a button. Share it publicly and go and Majiagbe, Agape. Go and invite your friends. Let's go and invite the Raija, Olaniya. Yeah, go invite your friends. Go share the link and let the journey begin today. Okay. If you have done that, then we'll be ready for the word today. Yesterday, I concluded the 7 characteristics of truth. 7 things that will make us to know if something is true or not. So I've concluded that particular aspect of truth. And the week before then, I had done 5 levels of truth. And this is another aspect of truth that I want to start out on today. I want to begin to talk about the aspect of truth that we have not spoken about so far. So the aspect of truth that I'm dealing with today, that I'm starting with today, probably to the end of the week or till next week, is going to be, why do people deny the truth? Or why people deny the truth? Why is it that people deny truth? I mean, is it not amazing that, okay, for example, there is no other religion where their God has actually come to give his life for his followers. And that is a simple illustration, a simple fact, a simple proof for anybody to know that the superiority of religion in the world lies with Christianity. And that this is the only religion where the God of their God, the most important, the founder of their religion, actually died for them to be saved. In other religions, like in Islam, for example, you need to give your life and do jihad, sacrifice yourself, and even maybe sacrifice the life of others to please your God and to go to heaven. But here, our God gave his life for us to go to heaven. He died for our sin. Instead of us to die, to then hope to be redeemed or something like that, or to even go and kill ourselves through jihad or some sacrifice. But yet, people don't follow that logic. People don't believe in Jesus. So why that? Even people from Christian homes and Christian countries, sometimes they don't believe the truth. So that is what I want us to examine, not just today, but for the whole week. Why is it that people don't believe what is true? Why is it that people deny the truth? So it's one thing not to believe the truth, but it's another thing to begin to deny truth. And a lot of people deny truth. Even right now, we are doing this live broadcast. Do you know, a lot of people are supposed to be here. A lot of people are supposed to be listening to this live broadcast, but they're not here. Why are people denying the obvious? Why are people denying the truth? Why is it that people are even being invited to come and participate in this live broadcast, but they can see the truth, they can see the fact, the statistics of Pastor Sunday's life tells his story, and maybe you have even you had your own testimony and you have invited them and have advised them to come and listen, and still people will not come and join. Why that? Why is it that people deny the truth? Or why is it that people don't accept the truth? What are the reasons why people reject truth? So the first point that I'm going to be pointing out today, and I think this is going to be a fascinating point to all of us today, because some of us might not know this, but it's important for you to know. We need to know why people reject the truth, why people don't believe in truth, why people don't seek for truth, why people don't follow the truth, or why people outrightly deny the truth. Number one reason why that happens is because of an authoritative figure. Remember that word. Authoritative figures are the biggest influence in or influences in our lives. And these influencers, and they have probably affected us in such a way or influenced us so much that they believe in, let's say, they believe in that authoritative, people believe in the authoritative figure in their life so much that whatsoever the authoritative figure tells them, or authority figure, I think it's better to say authority figure, whatsoever the authority figure tells them is what they believe. So let me really tell you the truth right now. That's just the first point. Just note that point. The reason why people don't believe the truth or deny the truth or refuse to follow the truth or reject the truth is authority figure. Just remember that point, right? And I'm going to point out to you that even you, no matter who you are, you come under that manipulation too. All of us are susceptible to the manipulation of authority figure. And many of us, if not all of us, have been under the deception of authority figures. And many of us have actually walked out on the truth. Many of us have denied the truth. And many of us have outrightly rejected the truth because of the role of authority figures in our lives. Now, let me declare this to you very clearly and very irrevocably. Listen closely to me now. You want to know the truth about yourself and about, just about yourself, about me, about yourself, about all of us? The truth is that none of us really believes the truth. And none of us believe in those things that we believe in because they are the truth. Most of the things that we believe in, we don't believe in them because they are truth. The reason why we believe in what we believe in is simple, and the reason is because, I'm sorry to say, somebody that we respect, somebody that we hold in high esteem, told us so. That's very sad. And it's very difficult for you to probably admit that most of the things that you have come to believe in your life is basically because somebody has told you that. It's not because you had found out that it is true. It's not because you have researched it. But it's because there is somebody that you are trusting. There is somebody that you believe. There is an authority figure in your life that you don't even question. And because you will not question things, and you will not question your authority figure, whatsoever they tell you basically is what you believe. So you just believe in people, and that's why it is a deadly practice to belong to a society or a culture where they have told you never to question stuff or never to question things. One of the biggest evil that could happen to you, to any people, to any group of people, is to be told that you don't ask questions from an authority figure, or you don't throw questions to an authority figure. That you don't question authority. Or that you don't question somebody that you respect. If you are going to do that, there are some advantages in that. But the disadvantages outweigh the advantage. Even God allows himself to be questioned. That's why even though God would like for everybody to come to the knowledge of truth and salvation, but he allows you to question his desire. He allows you to question his wish. He allows you to question his motive. And he allows you to choose either to believe in what he has said or not to believe in it. He gives you the willpower either to accept his word as truth or not to accept it as truth. He gives you the judgmental ability, the ability to judge. The intellectual integrity is in your hand to even accept what God is saying or not to accept what God is saying. If to the extent that God will actually write it in his own book, in his word, and say, come, let us reason together. God is for reasoning, and God is on the side of you reasoning and using your mind. Whenever you belong or you come from a culture or a people or a religious organization that tells you that you don't have the ability to choose what to believe, or that you don't have the ability or you don't have the right to question what the authority is saying. Whenever you come or you come across an organization, either it's religious or civic or societal or even family, that tells you you don't have the right to question, you are in a dangerous place. Because even God says, bring out your arguments, bring out your proofs. If God is telling you to bring out your proofs, if God is telling you to bring out your argument, who is a man to tell you that you cannot question whatever he says? That is one of the greatest evil that you could do to your children. That is one of the greatest evil that you could bring upon your descendants. That is one of the greatest, one of the greatest misfortune you could bring upon your descendants and upon your own children when you come to a place and you begin to tell them they do not have questions, they do not have the right to ask questions, or they do not have right to question you, whatever you say, or to question your words just because you are their parents or just because you are an authority figure to them. But it's even one thing when parents do that, but when you are an adult, okay? When you are an adult that is educated, you've gone to school, maybe you even have your own children, you are more than 18 years old, and you now find yourself in a church and being an adult. Maybe you are even a person that makes decisions. Maybe you are even a leader in your own class. Maybe you are even a successful person in your own standing. And now somebody else is trying to tell you that you do not have the right to question whatsoever they tell you. And you go and put your head down under that kind of authority in the name of religion? Wake up! Hit yourself in the head. Do anything you need to do to get your head wake up. What is that? Who has bewitched you, oh foolish Galatians? Who has bewitched you? Who has bewitched you? Who has bewitched you? If God is saying that he could be questioned, who has bewitched you that you will not even question a man? What is that, for Christ's sake? If God himself could be questioned, who is man that he cannot be questioned? And this is the greatest factor of foolishness and stupidity that has befallen our nation and our continent. The religious organizations of my country have taken it upon themselves to monopolize truth and to monopolize people's lives and people's minds. People who are pastors and religious leaders have taken it upon themselves to to decide if you are going to use your mind or not. People who are supposed to be father figures, people who are supposed to be religious leaders or even family leaders, they have instituted structures and systems in a way that you don't even have the right to question anything, thereby making you mental slaves. So mental slavery is what is reigning in our societies today. And so when you come to a church, you become paralyzed in your mind. Your mind is paralyzed, is incapacitated, just because you are not allowed to question anything anymore. You have become like incapacitated. You have become a mental disabled person, just because God could be questioned, but people tell you that you cannot question them and you believe it. People tell you you cannot question them and you believe it. Whereas the Bible says God can be questioned. God can be queried. He himself challenged us to query him. He himself challenged us to question him. And here we are voluntarily agreeing to join churches and to join organizations where we are being told not to use our head. The head that God gave you. How can God give you something that he doesn't want you to use? And then we are succumbing to that and subscribing to that. That is one of the greatest evil that religion has brought upon Africa. That is one of the greatest evil that religion has brought upon my nation. That my people now, even PhD holders, even grandfathers, even adults, they are like Philistines and vegetarians in the church today, because they will not use their mind. They will not question anything. And if you have listened to my series on the plague of silence, one of the messages was the birth of foolishness or whatever, or how fools are made or something like that. I preached a message on how people make us into fools. How fools are made. There are two conditions to making fools. The number one condition to making fools is that they make you not to believe the truth. You are prevented from believing what is truth. One, that is one way of making slaves. The second way of making slaves is that you are told a lie. So those two things are the greatest instruments of our pastors, so-called pastors, and our culture sometimes. They tell us lies in the first place, and then they prevent us from believing what is true. They don't even allow you to go to places where you could listen to what is truth, because they want to tell you that since they are authority figure in your life, and now that they are your leader or they are your pastor and they are your father or whoever they are to you, that they now have the key to your mind, to your brain. This is exactly what Jesus was speaking about when he was talking about the Pharisees. Because he told them that you are not going in, and even those people that are supposed to be going in, you are not allowing them to go in. You have taken the keys of knowledge from people. So you are not telling people the truth, and then you are not allowing them to go to where they could hear the truth. You are not allowing them to hear the truth. That is one of the greatest evil that anybody could perpetrate against you. And this is being perpetrated against a whole nation, a whole continent, a whole culture. We are in danger of just becoming zombies. You want to know why people don't believe the truth? You want to know why people don't believe the truth? Okay, let me ask you the question. If Gomayowa, can you come? Let me use you as an example. Let's say, okay, this is Mayowa, her name is. Let's say you belong to one of the churches, one of the big churches in Nigeria, and you hold in high esteem your pastor. And so your friend or anybody is sending you the links to Dr. Sunday Adelaja's messages. And they are telling you, this will help you, the truth will be here. But your pastor specifically instructed you and said, don't listen to any other minister's messages. Or don't go to Pastor Sunday Adelaja's platform. What do you think a typical Nigerian would do?
They won't go.
They won't go.
No.
Why? Because an authority figure has instructed them, and especially if you are concretely and specifically instructed that don't go to listen to Sunday Adelaja's messages. That's why most people who, in our culture and where we're coming from, you don't even think twice. You will even go ahead and tell other people not to listen or not to go and listen and not to go and, because that is it. Authority figures, they have monopolized people's minds and people's brain. And you don't have the right to question that. And you don't have the right to go and say, okay, I want to go and listen and find out for myself. Or I will listen and come back to tell you, what I think. Or I will come back and convince you. But that is witchcraft. That is pure witchcraft right there. So it is witchcraft that we are calling churches these days. And do you know that in my country, there are churches that don't even allow any member of that church to go to another church. And there are churches that don't allow any member of the church to read books that is written from somewhere else, not from that church. Or they will not even allow you to listen to other people's messages. So all this kind of evil are happening. Thank you. If God himself is not monopolizing your brain and is not monopolizing your will, and is saying, bring out your strong arguments, bring out your proofs. If God is saying you should question him, who is a man that says you should not question anything and you should not question him? That alone should be a fact and a factor for us to even question that whenever anybody tells us that. But today in my country, it's like it's the norm. Nobody even bothers about it. People just say, yeah, if that is what Papa said, or if that is what Mama said, or if that is what my, whatever pastor said, or GO said, or bishop said, well, you don't even think anymore. Let me go back to my message. So the message of today is, why do people deny the truth? The reason why people deny the truth, the number one reason, is because of authority figures in their lives. Let me tell you another thing. And I might need you again, Mayowa. Mayowa, I'm going to disappoint you now. And I'm going to tell you something that you might not like. And this is not just about you. This is about me. This is about everybody else. And I want to tell you, people who are at home, every one of you, this truth is a hard truth. But you need to hear it. And you need to consider this very seriously. Maiwa, do you know that you, like most of us, most people, maybe you are now better because you are listening to Pastor Sunday, right? But generally, even before, let's say before you met Pastor Sunday, there are exceptions to this, but very few exceptions. Do you know that, Mayowa, you, like every other person, you don't really believe truth?
Yeah.
You don't believe what is true.
Yeah, I know.
And I tell you why. And I tell you why. You don't believe what is true, and none of us believes what is true. Because we never bothered about it. You never researched truth. You never bothered about truth. You know what you have believed, what you have come to believe in your life? And all of you that are there also, you know what you have all come to believe in your lives? You have only believed what the two things that have made you to believe everything you have believed today. Two things. One, you have only believed people who you respect or who are authority figure in your life. Those are what those people have told you. They are the things that you have believed. If you go right now and make a list of all your belief systems and what you have come to believe, you will be shocked to discover that 50% of those things that you have come to believe are the things that have been told you by people that you respected, people that you honor, people that are authority figure in your life. Those could be your parents. In fact, 1/3 or 1/4 of everything you believe today, they are coming from what your parents have told you. Maybe not your direct parents, maybe your relatives or people who are responsible for bringing you up. Now, another big chunk of people of what you have come to believe are the things that you have learned in school, or you've learned from your senior colleagues or senior friends or senior relatives. Those are the things you have come to believe. Then, a lot of the things that you have come to believe are what the public opinion believe, what the culture you come from believe, what your people, what your nationality believes, what your culture believes, what your country believes, what the society where you live in believes. I'm sorry to say, but that's just it. That all comes to authority figure. So you don't really believe truth. So why do people deny truth? Why is it that people don't believe in truth? Because people are biomasses. And biomass finds it easier to just trust another person's opinion. Biomasses find it easier to just believe whosoever they think is the authority figure, whosoever they think that could be right, whosoever they think that is they respect. It's easier for them to believe those than to find the truth for themselves. That's why people don't believe the truth. And that's why people deny the truth. And that's why people run away from truth, because they would rather believe in the authority figure. That's the easy way. Everybody wants to take the easy way out. And that's how most people live. And that's how we have come to live, until you come to a stage in your life when you say, stop, I'm going to listen to the authority figure and I'm going to find out in myself if this is true or not. Or I am going to question my mind. Does it make sense to me? Is it logical to me? Have I thought it through? You have to now take a decision to really make sure that that truth is your own truth. Now, let me tell you the second factor of all the things you have believed. 90% of what you have believed comes under one of these factors. One, the authority figure. Most of the things you believe, they are coming from your authority, from the authority figures of your in your life. The next category of the next reason why you believe all you have believed is because is that you have believed. The next category of all the things you have come to believe, they fall under the category of the things. Oh, let me say it differently. So we don't believe what is truth. We believe what authority tells us. Number two, we don't believe what is truth. We believe in what is repeated over and over again to us or in our ears. So 90% of everything you have believed come from one of these sources. Either you are believing what authority figure has told you, or you are believing something just because it has been repeated over and over into your ears until you begin to believe that it is your thought, that it is your mind, that it is you thinking like that. So if the society is constantly talking like that, you seem to believe it. Your hairstyle is because you have seen it somewhere or somebody told you about it or you like it with somewhere. The way you dress is because you have seen somebody who has affected you that way. You know, very few times, only like 10% or 5 to 10% of our decisions are the decisions we have come to ours. Not just decisions, are the truth that we have discovered ourselves. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. So can I tell you people to go and share the link, go and share the message if you are just coming in, and if you have not shared the link yet, please go look for the link to this to the share button and find the share button and go share this message, please, if you don't mind. Let us go and share the message. It could help somebody. So I hope you are following me, everybody. So the first thing we are talking about is that why is it that people don't believe, the topic of today is that why is it that people don't believe the truth? Or what is right? What is truth? is because, unfortunately, we believe more we are more concerned of what people think, what the authority figures in our lives think, than we are concerned about the truth itself. So for you to really believe in the truth and be concerned about it, you must really fall in love with truth. You must exalt the truth in your life. You must value the truth above everything else. Your first concern and priority must be the truth. You must, take a conscious decision that truth is your mandate and truth is what you want to believe in. Do you know where most of the superstitions come from? All the superstitions that we have come to believe in is because somebody tells us. Why is it that the Europeans don't believe in the superstitions or Americans don't believe in superstitions? Because nobody told them. Authority figure. Because why is it that most people believe that you must have a child or you must marry or you must get parents or something like that? Because somebody told them. Because you have seen everybody doing it. So most of the things that we believe is just because somebody has told us. Somebody will respect, somebody will see as authority figure. Or they are just maybe things they didn't tell you directly, but things that you have kept on hearing over time, things that you've heard over and over again. When you begin to hear things over and over again like that, most of the time, you believe in it. You believe in it. John chapter 18, verse 37, Jesus says, "This is the reason I was born and came into this world, to testify to the truth." So the reason Jesus is saying he came to testify to the truth. So there is nothing more important than truth. There is nothing that is more important than the truth. There is nothing that you should ever elevate above the truth in your life. The desire for the truth must be your paramount desire. The desire for the truth must be your basic need. In fact, the desire for the truth must be more important in your life than the desire for your very food and your very existence. The desire for truth must be much more important than the desire for your own family and for your children. The desire for truth must be more important than your own very life. There is nothing more important than truth in this world. And that's what Jesus was saying, that even he himself, his life was given to him for a purpose. And he was even sent to the earth, not just to bring us salvation the way we all know, but he himself is saying this in his own words, to testify about the truth. If the truth is elevated even above the life of Jesus, because he said his own life is the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he said, truth is in God. So God is truth. So there is nothing that could be elevated above truth. And so when we begin to elevate opinion of men above truth, we err. We are in error. Anytime you have exalted the opinion of a man above the opinion of above the truth, you have exalted man above God, because God is truth. Anytime you have respected the opinion of man above truth, you have sinned against God. Some of us think that sin is just smoking and drinking or sleeping around. But truth really, as you can see, is the truth. I mean, truth really is more important than, I wanted to say, most of us think that sin is smoking and drinking. Sin is sleeping around or doing something like that. But not believing the truth and elevating lie or individual's opinion above the truth is a sin as well, because the truth is God. God is truth. And when you elevate the opinion of a man, of an authority figure above the truth, you actually sin against the truth. So my advice to every one of you is, yes, listen to what anybody wants to tell you, but more importantly, listen to what God or what truth says. Elevate the truth above any other thing individuals want to tell you. The truth must be your ultimate authority. The truth must be your highest authority. There is nothing that should be exalted above the truth in your life. So Jesus said, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth must listen to me or listens to me. No, Jesus says everyone should listen to him. Everyone ought to listen to him because nothing is more important than truth. And that's why he came to the world. But nobody listens to him. Even during his lifetime, not everybody listened to him. Today, not everybody listens to him. Why? So why is it that people, if the truth is so important that Jesus will give his life to testify about the truth, it's like it's only obvious. It only makes sense that everybody should listen to truth. But yet, people don't. Why? Let me tell you. Listen. We exalt authority. We exalt authority over and above the truth. That's just the truth. We are not interested in the truth at the end of the day. For you to really be interested in the truth, you must be conscious. For you to really be interested in the truth, somebody must have taught you well. For you to really be interested in the truth, you must have discovered God. For you to be really interested in the truth, your mind must have been developed. And that's why education is supposed to be all about truth. Science is supposed to be all about truth. And that's why when people today who are supposed to be educated suspend the use of their mind and elevate the authority of a man above the authority of truth, you know, tragedy has come. Tragedy has hit that city. Tragedy has hit that country. Tragedy has hit that society. Because education is the greatest power of education is to lead you to truth, to make you a seeker of truth and a lover of truth. Because education is about knowing. You say, Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Knowing is all about education. So when education cannot set you free, when education doesn't make you to value truth, when education doesn't make you to know truth, when education doesn't make you to put truth above everything else, nothing can help you. And because education, which is truth, is all, education, which is knowing, is knowledge, is all about truth. You shall know. Know is education. Education is all about knowing. Education is all about knowledge. You shall know, and knowledge is about what? It's about truth. Know what? Truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So that is the purpose of education. Why is it that when people go to school, and especially in the early days in Africa, when people travel to Europe and they come back from being educated in good schools, they come and revolt against superstitions that are really in the society, or they come back and deny all the practices of their fathers. And people used to say, oh no, education is bad, or science is bad, because now it came back and it doesn't want to practice all the things we used to practice before. Why? Because that was real education. Real education will push you to deny any superstition or ungrounded statements and ungrounded, assumptions that are not, confirmed by facts or truth. Real education will set you free from dumbness. Real education will set you free from stupidity. Real education will set you free from lack of using your mind and your brain. Real education will make you to be a lover of truth. Real education will push you to seek for truth, to love the truth, and to desire the truth above everything else. Real education will make you to want to know truth. Real education will waken up your desire for truth. Real education will make you to be hungry and desperate. Real education will make you to be a seeker of truth. Real education will make you will teach you that the greatest desire of your life should be for truth. Real education will let you know that without truth, you are not free. Because it is only the knowledge of truth that makes you free. Real education will open your eyes to the greatest desire of your heart and your soul, which is to know the truth. So only thinkers like that can find truth. And only really educated, truly educated people in their mind can really love the truth and can really desire the truth and can really seek truth. So when you are a person of truth, when you are an educated person, when you are an informed person, the truth sets you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Because knowledge is light, and ignorance is darkness. When people tell you that you cannot ask questions, they want you to remain in darkness. When people tell you that you don't have the right to question anything, they are putting you in darkness, in dungeon that way. But that's why somebody that is educated is a lover of truth. He knows that light is greater than darkness, and nobody could keep him in darkness. He will rather strive for light. But our people today, because they are more interested in survival, a lot of our people today, they are more interested in somebody sponsoring them or paying for their bills or somebody taking care of them. And because they respect that person too much, they don't want to lose their livelihood, and they just go and compromise with truth. And that is why judgment comes upon those kind of people. And what kind of judgment comes upon them? The kind of judgment that Hosea spoke about. Hosea says in Hosea 4:6 that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And they don't just perish for lack of knowledge. The reason they perish is not just because they don't have knowledge. But the very next verse says they perish because of that, for lack of knowledge, because they have rejected the truth. And God said, that's why I will reject you, and I will reject your children as well. So the problem is not just that you don't have the truth, but the problem is that you are not desiring. You don't seek the truth. You don't seek knowledge. You don't seek to know. And when you don't seek to know, God condemns you. God rejects you. And God gives you up for destruction. So authority figure is one of your greatest inhibitions. Authority figure is one of your greatest hindrances to walking in truth. Authority figure is one of the greatest factors that could bring you and hold you in bondage. And especially when that authority figure are telling you that you don't have the right to question anything. When that authority figure is telling you don't have the right to read other people's books. When that authority figure is telling you don't have the right to read secular books. When that authority figure is telling you don't have the right to do research, to go to the library, and to dig deep. When authority figures begin to tell you that the only thing you need to read is the Bible, they put you in bondage. They lock you up in limitation. Whenever any authority figure tells you that you don't have any right to read any other thing apart from what they tell you to read, they captivate your mind. They put you in darkness. They put you in captivity. They reduce you to animal level of living. So why people don't believe truth? Because they are under the influence or the deception of one authority figure or the other. Like I said, the birth of foolishness. Fools are given birth to two ways. Either they are made to believe what is not true, or they are prevented from believing what is true. So they are not allowed to believe what is truth, and they have been told lies. So they are made to believe lies, or they are made to believe what is true, not to believe what is true. Psalms 43 verse 3 says, send out your light and your truth. Your light and truth goes together. Light and truth, just like truth and grace goes together. Because truth is light. Send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy hill and to your dwelling. That is why God is never going to be against light. That's why light is knowledge. That's why God is never going to be against knowledge. And that's why God is never going to be against the truth. That's why God would never prevent men from asking questions. And that's why God would never prevent men from seeking. In fact, God judges men who don't seek for knowledge. God judges you when you stop to seek for knowledge. God condemns you and gives you up for destruction when you refuse to seek for knowledge. That because knowledge is truth and knowledge is light. And those are the two things, the only two things in the world, knowledge and light, and in truth and knowledge. or light and truth. Those are the only two things that will lead you to the holy hill and to his dwelling. When you are really addicted to knowing the truth, when truth is your primary concern, you will find God one way or the other. If you are really, truly sincere. But people who believe the authority rather than truth, they have compromised their soul. They have compromised their conscience. And most of those people, they have elevated the authority of man over the authority of the truth. They have that means they have elevated the authority of man over the authority of God. That means that even though they are religious, or even though they go to church, they don't really love God. They don't respect God. And God is nothing to them. They are just doing religious services. And they are doing what is convenient for themselves. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. This story is the story of the Catholic Church. And a man named Galileo Galilei. Galileo Galilei was one of the foremost scientists that discovered a lot of things. He made a lot of discoveries. But when he discovered that the earth is not the heart of the world, that the earth, our planet Earth, is not the center of the world, and that as a matter of fact, our earth is revolving around the sun, because before him, everybody used to believe that we are the center of the earth, of the universe, and that even the sun and the moon, they all go around us. Everything is revolving around us, around the earth. The Catholic Church that this man has served faithfully, the Catholic Church that has exalted this man as a hero, they came against him and told him he had to deny that fact. But he said, I cannot deny it because I've done scientific research. I have investigated the truth. I have researched the matter. And this is science. I mean, facts tell me I cannot deny the fact that my mind, my eyes are seeing. That I'm seeing it. Microscope is telling me that it is the earth that is revolving. They said, but the earth is not revolving. We are here. If it had revolved, we would have gone upside down and would have turned. He said, no, but that's not the way it is. It's going so slowly. So they gave him ultimatum that he must deny. And he was a professor that was teaching in Catholic institutions and all over the world. Catholics used to rule the world at this point. You know what? The Catholic Church issued a decree that nobody should believe this man's revelations or discoveries. And because the whole world was Catholic that time, the whole civilized world, the Catholic Church issued a command that everybody, that this man is a heretic, that is in error, and that he should not be believed. Nobody should take him serious. And you know what? Millions of people all over Europe, these are not Africans, these are Europeans. Millions of people were castigating Galileo Galilei. And they were actually saying that he was in error. And they believed the authority of the Catholic Church. Because in their mind, the Catholic Church is the ultimate authority. They could not get it wrong. Well, Galileo Galilei refused to recount. And he said he would rather die. And he died for his faith, for his belief system, for the truth. So they banished him into like a house arrest, and he died there. Because he believed the truth, and he will not succumb to the authority figure in his life. But he would rather die for truth. How many of us would rather die for truth like this? How many of us would rather lose our lives, but to stand for truth, rather than going against the authority figure that could make or mar us? The truth is that most people are biomasses. Not too many people will be ready to lose. We are not even talking about losing your life. We are talking about even losing your salary or losing your job. Some people will compromise the truth just because of job. Some people will slaughter and murder the truth on the basis of they will murder the truth on the altar of survival. Some people they will butcher the truth, and will sacrifice the truth and betray the truth. But the truth cannot be betrayed. Even though the whole world at that time believed that it is the Catholic Church that was right, and that Galileo Galilei was wrong, you know what? Over 200 years passed, maybe 400 years passed, and the world still came to that. This guy had died, and the world still came to the same conclusion that no, he was right. And all the millions that were calling him foolish and that were putting pressure on him to renounce, and he died, those who saw him dead and they thought he was a fool, all of them were dead. But even after their death and his death, the truth still vindicated him. And now he's a saint in that same Catholic Church. The truth can never be betrayed, because the truth can never be destroyed. And there is nothing we can all do against the truth, but only for the truth. So I want you to examine your life. What is the role of truth in your life? And how high have you exalted the truth? And what is the role of the authority figures in your life? And how much have you placed the truth above authority figures in your life? If you are given a chance or a choice between the truth and authority figures in your life, are you really sure that you will be able to stand for what is right? Are you really sure that truth is your priority? Are you really sure that truth is your benchmark? No, truth is your priority, and that truth is your virtue. That truth is your virtue. That truth is your preference. That truth is your authority. It's your ultimate authority. Are you really sure of that? Have you really convinced yourself and settled to the fact that, come what may, I will always be on the side of truth? Have you settled for the fact that God is truth and that you are submitted to him? Are you really a believer? Let's go to us now as Christians. Most of the things that we believe in, it's not really the truth. The other day I was talking about praise and worship. And everybody thinks that without praise and worship, you don't have a church. I mean, there are some people who are doing praise and worship. In fact, their whole church is about praise and worship. But do you know that praise and worship might not really be necessary to be a Christian or to start a church? Because when you look at the New Testament, you don't even see praise and worship there. So some of the things we have come to believe as a big part of our lives, they don't really have anything to do with the truth. Do you know that people say you must not forsake the assembly of your brethren? And do you know that what people think that means is that you must not quit going to church. You must always go to church. Foolishness. Nothing like that. Because when he's talking about that, the Bible was not, when that was written, there were no churches, what we call churches today. Because in our own mind, churches, what it says is that don't forget the assembly of forget the assembly of your brethren. We're thinking that he's talking about church buildings. But there were no church buildings that time. And since there were no church buildings, it's not exactly what we are thinking that he's saying. It's just talking about fellowships. Because during the time that was written, they only had home groups, home fellowships. So when there are two or three people gathered together, that is already church. And it didn't even say church. It said assembly. So, but some of the things that we have come to believe, just because somebody has told us. When and I have a series on that. I'm going to teach on that sometime. That actually that passage doesn't even have anything to do with church. It only has to do with brethren. So what we are doing right now, we're in the assembly of the brethren. It talks about fellowship, relationship, fellowship. When you are with your father, with your husband and your wife or your children, that's a fellowship of believers right there. It's not talking about church building at all. So a lot of the things that we have come to believe, we only believe them because somebody that we respect has said it. A lot of things that we have come to believe, You know, I can keep on mentioning them. Okay, like for example, do you know that people, there is nowhere in the Bible where the Bible says we should tithe in the New Testament? The Bible didn't command us to tithe. But because people will respect, I've said that, we just go for it. Even though I myself tithe, and I encourage people to tithe if they can, if they believe in their church, if they believe in the authority of the leader there. But if they don't believe in it, they should use that tithe for the poor. But even in the New Testament, it's not there. The only thing that is in the New Testament is to help people who are in need. A lot of the things that you believe, that we have all come to believe, doesn't have anything to do with the truth. But we have believed them because somebody that we respect has said that. Do you know that there is a scripture that says that no, man shall not be alone, or whatever it says. Man shall not be alone, right? Is that the way it says it? It's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for man to be alone. But everybody is preaching that is talking about marriage, husband and wife. Do you know it didn't talk about marriage there at all? Man shall not be alone. It means what it says. Not to be alone, not to be lonely, not to be, by yourself. The priest was by himself. It doesn't have to be opposite sex. You don't just be alone. It's talking about relationship, the need for a relationship. But we just believe it because pastors have said that's what it means. You have to marry. So all kind of things that we have believed, if you begin to question them, you will discover, do you know that the Bible's, do you know that the Bible didn't say that, what is the other one I wanted to talk about? No, I'm sorry, I will come back to that. Somebody is talking here. Afolabi Michael said, what about Hebrews 7? Very good. You go and read it again. Did he say you should pay tithe or not? He didn't say you should pay tithe. In Hebrews 7, he's just writing to Hebrews. It's a letter to Hebrews. That was their practice in those days. He was explaining to them what tithe meant. So that's what he's talking about in Hebrews 7. Even though, like I said, I pay tithe, I believe that the New Testament didn't cancel tithe outrightly. But I'm just saying it's not a command in the New Testament. There is no command like tithe in the New Testament. That's what I'm saying. I pay tithe myself, but I'm just saying that it's not a command. A lot of things like that are not commanded in the New Testament that people do. So, I'm saying, but most of the things we have believed in is coming from the authority figures that we have. Or because it has been repeated to us so many, many times. The next thing I wanted to say is that, have you ever heard of altar calls? I'm sure you have all heard of altar calls. And many of us probably did altar calls one way or the other. But do you know that there is nothing like altar calls in the Bible? Either New Testament or Old Testament. Nothing like altar calls. And do you know that some of us don't believe that even without altar calls, you cannot come to God? Do you mean that? Do you believe that? Some people believe that without altar calls, you cannot even come to Christ. But then, how did people come to Christ during the Acts of the Apostles or in the New Testament? They came to Christ without altar calls. So there is something we are missing. There is something we are missing, and because we have been told this, we all believe it. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that we don't believe what is truth. We believe what people that we believe in tell us. We believe in what people that we believe in tell us. We don't believe in what is truth. Or we believe in what we have heard over and over again, not what is truth. But there are, of course, people who believe in what is truth. And I believe that from today on, and after I finish this series, you will all be more interested in the truth than in what an authority figure tells you. But only very informed people look for truth. Only very informed people are interested in the truth. Only only people who use their mind and people who are very conscious or people who have a very clean heart are interested in truth. And you have to really be very informed, and you have to be poised to put your mind on truth before you can actually desire truth more than everything else. So I will advise you to put the truth above everything else. Put truth above everything else. Make sure that truth is your first love, and that there is nothing more important and higher than the truth that it will be put in your life. So the point we are making today is the reason why people don't believe in the truth. People don't believe the truth because they have some authority figures in their lives that have instructed them wrongly, or they have some authority figures in their lives that have advised them against the truth, or they have already believed a lie that has been told by an authority figure in their lives, or they have an authority figure in their life that has prevented them from believing what is true. So that is what happens to a lot of people. Again, if you have not yet shared this message, go and look for the share button, and please be free to share the message, please. Please be free to share the message. Be free to share the message. So, we all need to search our hearts and search our souls. Do I build my life on truths or on just obedience, blind obedience? Do I just follow and obey what people that I respect say to me, or I make sure that I discover that this is the truth, first of all? Do I value the truth above other people's opinion, even if there are people that I love so much, and there are people that I respect so much, or there are people that I honor so much? Is that enough at a proof and a reason why I should believe in what I believe? Or truth should stand higher? So this is the first factor why people don't believe the truth. And this first factor, I've not even finished it, just because time is against me today. But tomorrow, I'm going to give you more factors, more reasons. I'm going to keep on speaking about authority. In what case should we believe authority figures? Because I'm not saying that we shouldn't believe authority figures at all. I'm saying that when authority figure comes against the truth, we should choose the truth. I'm not saying that authority figure is wrong. They are always wrong. I mean, our parents, they are the authority figure that God placed us in their lives. But truth should not be subjugated just because of authority figure or for the authority figures. Truth has to be always above the authority figure. So tomorrow, what I'm going to be talking about will be in relations to the fact that when should we believe authority figures? When should we follow authority figures? And what are the factors? How do we know if the authority figure is right or not? And are there some criteria for us to cross-check the truth when we respect somebody on one hand, and we don't know if what they are saying is right or not? How do we find out if what they are saying is right or not? And how do we separate the words of the authority figure that are not right from the ones that are right? And how do we behave ourselves when the authority figures are going against the truth? How do we find out even if it's the truth or not? So a lot of things that, especially in churches in Africa, I'm concerned about my continent and my country. A lot of the practices in our churches in Africa, It's just putting people in slavery. Because truth will always set free. But when you come to churches when you are now being controlled and you cannot do anything by yourself and you have to get permission and you cannot speak your opinion, you cannot question anything, there is no freedom. Whenever your freedom is lost, it's no more truth. And one of the basic, tests to truth is to know if it gives you freedom or not. If it doesn't give you freedom, it is deception. So I'm going to be talking about a lot. I'm going to continue this particular. This is just the first factor, but it's going to be in second part. So I'm going to continue the second part of it tomorrow because this is just part one. Why do people believe? Why is it that people deny the truth? Why is it that people don't believe the truth? Because of authority figures. And tomorrow I'm going to tell you how to be able to, what to do with authority figures if they are telling truth or lie, and what do you do about it. So let me find out what you are thinking. Let me hear your opinions. What are you thinking about this teaching? Can you write your opinion here? Let me hear your thoughts about this message today. Will you write your thoughts and your opinion here? Please write your thoughts and opinion, what you think about this message. Did it help you? Or what are you experiencing in your heart? What are you feeling in your soul, in your emotions, what are you feeling right now? Would you like to write what you think, what you're feeling? I'm going to try to read your comments, and let me even ask people here if they have anything to say. Any one of you want to comment? Nothing, or no comment? Okay. Mayowa wants to say a few words. And, okay, here we go.
Hello, everyone. When Dr. Sunday was just teaching just now, I was just thinking about all the times where I haven't actually believed the truth. And it's actually true. When I came out here and he said, he's going to say something, and that we don't believe the truth, that I don't believe the truth. And that is true, absolutely. And we all don't, for reasons that is explained, especially with the authority figure. But it really kind of saddens my heart. I know that he's going to teach on it tomorrow. When do you actually stop believing or not accepting what people say? Because I've grown up with, you need to be submissive, you need to obey before complain. I hear that a lot, so much, because God didn't create me to just be a dummy that accepts what another person says, because that's another person. I'm also a person, and God creates everybody equally. So, but then where did I start listening to authority and not even taking account or taking stock of my own thoughts or my own belief and doing my own investigation, doing my own research? But I think for me personally, it's got a lot to do with religion. And I think actually God set me free. I was just thinking back on my old church and how the pastor would just say, shh, especially a woman, just listen to the Holy Spirit, and then it's just pure manipulation. Listen to this, and when you question something, it's always you're wrong for questioning it. So I just really want everybody to kind of take stock of that, especially in church. If it says in the Bible, yeah, I know husband and wife, even children as well. You do it with your children. So in church, they would just say, shh, especially women, and they'll give you all these different Bible quotes. But God actually set me free when I started listening to Dr. Sunday last year before I came here, because my pastor, everything that he says that we shouldn't do, especially something that he complains about a lot. He went ahead and did it. And then when I questioned him, and he said God told him. So I said to him that, well, how do you know that God is not telling all the other people to do those things when they did it? That you complain and you tell them off, you say that they're wrong for what they're doing. How do you know God? And he just didn't have anything to say to me. So that was the day that I got delivered. But I didn't even know that I was delivered that day until Dr. Sunday started talking about it today, because I realized that it's all fallacy. How could somebody else be telling you not to do something, but they're doing exactly the same thing? And then they will tell you that God told them. We need to start respecting God and actually honoring God, because I really don't understand how we could believe in God, truly believe in God, and still believe what other person says over what God has said. And also, the worst thing is that we not only believe what the other person says, they're all false that they're telling us, is that we're not even checking them. We're not even taking any reference. Those things that those people are even saying is making us subordinate, or what's the right word? Is subduing us. You know, so how can we really believe in God? So for me, I'm even questioning my belief in God. Because if I believe all those things, how can I really, really believe in God? Because those things that they tell me is that I am superior. The authority says, I am superior. I know better. You don't. So God that created you with less understanding, less knowledge. You can't, especially if you become an adult. You can't do certain things. You can't do this. So that's one thing for me that I gain out of this teaching, that yes, it's true that I don't believe in truth, and I really need to now start assessing everything that I believed in, especially some of the coin words that they use, like the one I mentioned earlier, which is obey before complain. You know, as a child, I hear that a lot. You know, they just subdue you. Obey, obey. You always have something to say. And then, and that's not even in my own home. It's not my mom that says that. It's other people that always say that to me. It's not even usually people inside. And then also as a woman, there's so much. You have to obey your husband. You have to obey this person. You have to obey that person, that you just kind of give up on life, or even give up on thinking and suspend your brain, because you can't think yourself. Nobody even respects your thoughts by saying that you should obey somebody else. Why should I obey somebody else? Can't I think myself to do something? So that's there. And also as parents, please, I know many people are parents out there. Let your children speak. If you raise them well enough, you know, you shouldn't be comforted that you've raised them and you've raised them well. So when they make their own decisions, you know that you're making the decision based on the good, sound teachings that you've given them. You know, you don't allow your children to talk. You don't allow them to be honest. You tell them when adults are around, don't say anything, even if they have something good to say or something interesting to say. It's like they don't even matter. And it still goes on even to adulthood. When, you know, you're an adult and you're with your parents and they start saying, oh, you shouldn't say things because elderlies are dead. They just use all this kind of, you know, it's just, we just all need to take stock now and take over our own lives, and also start to love and believe in God. You know, if God says, let's reason together, we must really know that he's giving us freedom. If he gives us free will, then we should really take that free will. We shouldn't believe in all these lies anymore. And the other thing is about, you know, the great men of God. They are our forefathers. They're this. I don't stop caring about that. They are forefathers. They came, they lived their lives, but it doesn't mean that they, you know, you have to believe in whatever they say and obey whatever they say and suspend your own brain. Because I hear that a lot, especially when you want to say anything against the wrong things that pastors and all these leaders are doing. You know, especially pastors, they just have immunity with whatever they want to do. They just do it. I'm a pastor. So what if you're a pastor? So it's a bad time that we start actually loving ourselves enough to know that God created us equally, and God created us with sound mind. And we have to trust and love God, because if you cannot even love God if you believe that your pastor or your apostle or your bishop has got better and sound mind than God has given you. You know, you don't believe in that God, because how can he do that? How can you love that God? How can you respect that God for doing that? You know, I've mentioned this before. Even as a parent, if you think that, if you think your mom likes one of your siblings better than you, that causes problem in you. That gives you a lot of complex. So obviously you're going to have complex with God. How could you be worshiping God and going and listening to all these people telling you not to do this, not to do that, and you're still continuing to do so? You know, it's really, it doesn't even make sense to me anymore. I'm really thinking, why did I even join any church in the first place? Why was I even listening to anybody? Why didn't I just take the Bible, love God, respect God, have a relationship with God? Because everything that I know, like somebody said, every bad thing that I learned in terms of being fearful or being worried, being concerned, or saying my mind, suspending my brain, they were all learned in church as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, there's some good things that came with it, you know, that came with my life in church, but most of it was so negative. I could have gained the good thing that I gained in church if I'd known God and had a relationship with God. You know, so it's not unique to the fact that I went to church. That's when I gained those things. And there's still so many people right now that are still going to those churches, that are still attending just to save face. you guys now, it's clear that you do not love God, number one. Also, it is clear that you're fearful of man, and also it is clear that you don't even love yourself. So you need to start thinking really now. I'm not even saying this because I'm here. I'm saying this because please free yourself, because the world needs you. If you don't free yourself now and gain the truth and embrace the truth and love the truth and walk in the truth and be lovers of truth, then you really cannot be functioning in the way you should be functioning. You cannot be functioning in your purpose. And we need you. The world needs you. I need you to be functioning in your purpose, because there must be something that you have for me, that God has created in you for me, or for the whole world to benefit. So I'm not saying this so that, everybody leaves church and do whatever. I'm saying this because your purpose is tied, what God has created you for. Only you can do that. And if you don't come out now and stop all this, man of God, woman of God, telling you all this, and you and the God that you believe is making you a subordinate to another human being, and you cannot reason, you cannot think for yourself, you have to follow all this authority and follow whatever they're saying, then you really cannot be functioning in the purpose. You can't be functioning as you should be functioning. And I personally, I'm just pleading to you that I need you to function in the way that you should function, so that we can benefit from what God has created you for. So that's really my plea, and I'm just so pleased, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to actually learn and develop my own mind in these teachings. So I hope other people as well, they are developing, and they're benefiting from this. So Julie is coming back. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I still love what Maiwa just said, because I was thinking about this I was thinking about this as well, because I come from the same background where I was made to obey at any cost, and the most important premise in our family was listen to the elderly, listen to the person who's older than you, don't question them, don't ask questions. But one thing I know for sure is that no child is born being impolite or being negative or something. Every child is just curious. Every child wants to know, and by having this type of attitude towards our children, that we don't make them talk, that we don't encourage them to question things and to reason, we are killing them. We are killing their potential. I can say that for myself, because I'm still, struggling not struggling, but I'm still working on becoming myself again because of that, and I'm just talking for myself. I'm 25 right now, and I have done quite a lot of things already, but I'm still working on becoming myself fully because of that atmosphere that I grew up with, because of that authoritarian way of raising your children. And I've seen a lot of other people going through the same. It really kills the people. So I just wanted to underline what Maiwa said here. It is not a good thing to do, because if, even the Bible says that in all you're getting, get understanding. Why would you deprive a child of getting understanding of things? Why would you, not tell the children, give the children answers, make them understand why you reason the way you do, because it comes from somewhere. So this really makes me realize that we are really not questioning and reasoning in our lifestyles, because we are not actually so sure of what we believe in. Because if we were so sure, if we were unshakable in the things that we believe in, we would not bother if people come and ask us and question us and, want to reason with us, because we would have all the arguments to make our point, to argue our case. But we don't. And so we resort to saying stuff like, shut up, or stay quiet, or respect your elders and everything. And this applies to families, this applies to everywhere, even at work. I've even experienced this at work, where you have this underlying unwritten rules of people not being able to question things because the authority says so. Because, you're getting in trouble if you question certain things that you may not agree with, because you feel like, oh, this is not right. But because of politics and all these kind of things, we submit to authority, even though, that authority may not stand for truth. And this really just, it makes me really sad, because we are deceiving ourselves. We are deceiving the people around us. We are deceiving ourselves. We are not being truthful. And at some point it will all come out, and we will be left with nothing. We will be left with condemnation, because the truth, like Dr. Sunday says, you can't fight against the truth. You can only fight for the truth. And one thing I also wanted to mention is that I realize now how clear the Bible really is. That what we have done as a church especially is that we've interpreted into so much of what is written in the Bible. We do not take the Bible as it is. Just like, the verses that Pastor mentioned, like, do not forsake the assembly of the brethren. It says the brethren, the assembly of the brethren. How come that we just make this church thing out of it? How? I don't get it. It shows me that we don't take the time to understand what that actually means. We just take things as they are. We close our eyes. We think we know, and we actually don't. So I'm just very grateful for the teachings that we've gotten in regards to relative truth and absolute truth, because with this knowledge we should now be able to discern, especially when reading the Bible, what is truth that is universal and what is truth that is relative, or that is applicable to a specific situation or a group of people or a specific culture, and all of these things. And it is not something bad, to find things in the Bible that are not absolute. It is helping us to live. It is a book that helps us to live. It is a book that helps us to understand ourselves and to understand life and to understand God. And if there are things that are not absolute in that Bible, it is okay. We should not shy away from being truthful to ourselves and, in regards to the Bible and everything that God has given us. So I'm very grateful for this. I find this very, very interesting topic. It may be quite, look quite controversial, especially because we're talking about authority, and even in the Bible it says that you should, respect authority and everything. But if you really listen to what Dr. Sunday is saying, you will understand that he's not, telling us to disrespect or deny authority or anything like that. He's telling us to reason and to question if what we stand for, if what we're listening is actually based on truth, because truth is absolute. There's nothing that you can argue with it. So we just have to make sure to open our ears, our eyes, and make sure that what we hear we are able to discern about what we hear. So that's my thought of this teaching. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, girls. And thank you, my friends that are here. Please go and share the video if you have not yet shared it. And I'm going to, I'm in the church right now, so we still have an hour to travel to the house. So I will read your comments on the way and at home. And have a wonderful evening. We'll continue tomorrow. God bless. Bye.